Welcome back to the latest episode of Across the Bifrost. My name's Sung Soo, and joining me in a moment for our kind of like end of the year holiday grab bag episode is my co-host and dear friend Pat Dunford. And today, well, we're just going to be all over the place today. So, Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing great, TT. We made it to the end of another year. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. We've been doing this for quite a while now.
Yeah, a little while. I haven't really been keeping track, but
yeah, it's been a long time. Through a pandemic. It's been a lot of episodes, Pat.
Yeah, it's another Christmas that this is like our fourth Christmas together on the airwaves.
Yeah. So I'm always excited and happy for a mailbag episode because I'll be honest, Pat, we don't have to really think about the content we're going to make here. We've been doing this long enough where it's getting hard to come up with episode ideas what we feel are still valuable. So we appreciate all you writing
behind
in.
the curtain. You can keep that stuff to yourself.
Okay, sorry. Pat
saying
and I have
the quiet
a lot
part
of
out loud.
ideas, tons of ideas. It's funny though because it's definitely grass is always greener on the side. Because when there's too many deck boxes, we just get too many box reviews, we get tired of those too.
Yeah. You're just never happy. I don't even know why you podcast.
Exactly. It's just, that's a great question. So for Sleeve It or Heave It, in honor of anyone's birthday around here, including Jesus Christos, we're going to do happy birthday runs. And I was super impressed because Pat knew what the card did, and I had absolutely no idea. But it's a Victor Creed card. He may spend 3 power to play this card. Choose an enemy character within 3 in line of sight with an activated token. Victor Creed immediately makes the attack shown above targeting the character. And Pat, what does the attack do again?
It is a range 3, 6 dice physical attack. Mm-hmm. You can't use... It's got the Mystique thing. You can't use reactive superpowers or team tactics cards.
Okay.
And it has other text that makes Wolverine sad.
If it targets James, Logan, Howlett, after the attack is resolved, the target character drops all objective tokens it is holding.
Nice.
So Pat,
I noticed now it also ignores cover.
Oh, you're right. It does ignore cover. That's good. So it is an extra action.
Yes.
So that's one of our guidelines. It kind of gives it a bump up.
Yeah, I mean, it's an extra... I mean, extra action is really good. And the attack itself, I think, is pretty respectable. Especially because of the... Like, being able to ignore the tactics cards and reactive abilities of your opponents is situationally really relevant. And tactics cards are inherently situational, right? You only get to use them once a game. So I quite like that effect is on a tactics card because I can imagine a lot of situations where that text is going to be really useful and I would choose to play the card in that time, right? Like, for example, you can stop Ultron from using Age of Ultron by singing Happy Birthday to him. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the most appealing thing on this card for me, right? Because one of the things with Sabretooth, especially Apex, is like Apex converts power so well into damage already.
Yes.
Right? Like he can pounce, he can throw, he can add extra dice. He has a good spender. Like that's 4 ways he can already dump power.
Yeah.
But again, an extra attack's always really good. The restrictions on it, like what do you think of them, right? We need a character that has an activated token.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the line of sight restriction is not much of a restriction at all because normal attacks would have the same thing. Yeah, the activated token, though, is a big deal. For sure. Especially if you consider that oftentimes, if I've got a powerful model like Sabretooth and I'm playing a tactics card to get more attacks, I might often want to target a model that hasn't activated, right? In order to front load my damage and deny an opponent's activation. And this card won't let you do that. So that's definitely a mark against it.
So while this card is active, it doesn't have to be spent during his activation, correct?
No, that's definitely true, which is really cool.
So you could use Doctor Strange, give him the activated token, immediately use this. Yeah.
Yes. Sabretooth pounces as the spell is being cast. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's a synergy. What a wombo combo. Do you do some sort of Defenders like Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, Sabretooth team?
Oh, okay. I can get behind this.
Yeah.
So I don't hate this card. I definitely don't love it, though.
No, I think you're right that one of its issues is Sabretooth Apex Predator is sensational at spending power and never has enough. So an extra tactics card to spend 3 more power to get another pseudo attack is actually... Like, he's already got a 3-cost superpower that throws him, and a 3-cost 3 power that throws someone else. He's already got 2 ways of making pseudo attacks for 3 power, right? That don't cost action. So having the third is not that great. I think this card is more appealing on original Sabretooth.
Yeah, my problem with original Sabretooth is how does he get any power?
Well, yeah, that can be tough. I have to say, though, I don't know about you, but I've been seeing quite a few Defenders players playing Sabretooth. And I think Defenders is a cool home for him because of his kit. He is kind of like another Daredevil in that they both have that ability where when they get attacked, they can move towards you and hit you back, which synergizes really well with the Defender's leadership, which gives you rerolls on that attack outside of your activation when you move into the middle of the enemy team to hit them. You have decent survivability because you have Sabretooth stat line, but more importantly, you have exceptional healing. And Defenders are often also taking Wolverine, so they have multiple targets for exceptional healing, which is kind of nice. And you're going to generate a little bit more power in Defenders because you're going to be re-rolling that pretty good builder with its Wild Pierce. You're going to be putting some re-rolls on that. So you might be able to spend that power a bit better. And original Sabretooth isn't as good at spending power as Apex is. So I think in a defense, and bear in mind, Defenders don't have a lot of good tactics cards, right? They've got no affiliated cards. So I could see this coming in a Defenders team.
Yeah, I've just had so many issues with Sabretooth generating power. And I think Sabretooth spends power fine. Right, because in order to use his move towards you and attack, right, that costs power.
It does.
Right.
It could refund that power if you
so the aggressive doesn't cost power. The attack costs power, excuse me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and my issue with the claw attack is it's a 5 dice builder, right? It's like, I don't know. It's
with a Wild Pierce. And some rerolls for being a defender.
And a bleed.
Yeah.
So
I also
think the card's fine. I would probably sleeve it. Go ahead, Pat. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, the other thing I like about Sabretooth in Defenders, because I see you're not sold on this, is I like the idea that you can make a Defenders team where every single model is unappealing to attack. And I think that kind of synergy is quite powerful, because if you can make it so every model is unappealing to attack, then your opponent is stuck in a bind where suddenly all of their attacks start to lose value. So I like Sabretooth in Defenders. And yeah, like you said, TT, I could see sleeving this card if you're going to play a lot of Sabretooth.
Yeah, again, I think if you're playing to play Sabretooth, I think it's a fine card. Not playing Sabretooth because of the card.
No.
But I think it's fine. It's situationally it could be really good for you.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know how long the episode's going to take. I have a bunch of different questions from different listeners and some emails. And we're just going to run through them. We're going to ask, see what we get, kind of bounce around, see what we get to. So, Pat, are you ready?
I'm ready. So, listeners, if you feel like this episode wasn't long enough, then next time, submit some questions. If you think it was too long, don't submit questions. We'll see.
And then, of course, we have a life advice at the end. People have been asking, Pat. Yeah, I know. And this is a different life advice, and we'll get there when we get there. But
okay,
we are going to have some life advice.
Looking forward to that.
All right, so Soren, the German, asks, what was your favorite model to paint?
Ooh.
And I really had to think about this one. I wasn't sure. So, Pat, what is your favorite model to paint?
There are a lot of good models to paint. Yeah, I kind of have to think about this one too. But so I have a couple of models. I don't know if they're my favorite, but I want to mention they're models that I painted and then I've gone back and touched them up. And I was very proud of the fact I returned to them, gave them some extra highlights, because they're models that I rushed the first time round to get them on the table, but I've played so much that they deserved a bit of extra attention. And those were original Corset Iron Man and Sam Wilson Captain America. And I went back to Sam Wilson. I spruced up his wings. I gave his shield those little kind of like reflective things to make it look like, it was rotating. And I was really happy about that. I think Sam Wilson was one of my favorite models to paint.
Okay, I think that's fair. My favorite model to paint, and I know I should say the garbage truck, but the garbage truck wasn't my favorite model. But it was actually the Hydra tank. It just reminded me of when I was young and like I saved all my money up and I bought a Lemon Rust tank.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And it's the same kind of like chunky, almost like chibi tank thing. I just had a ton of fun painting my Hydra tank.
It does look very 40k, doesn't it? It looks a lot like a Lemon Russ.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And
TT,
then like
I
the
just
commissar
got
at the roof, Red Skull telling
yeah.
you he's going to kill you if you don't move
It
forward.
is. He needs a sword, doesn't he? And it'd be
He
perfect.
does. Drive
Let me.
faster or drive closer. I'll hit him.
I'm excited to tell you, I got a Hydra tank as my prize for the Abbeville tournament.
Hey, is that
I
your first
took.
Hydra tank?
It's my first Hydra tank. Came all the way back with me from France.
Do you own all the terrain?
No. So but I was so excited for the game that before it came out, I bought a whole table's worth of terrain from third parties. And then I've supplemented that with the core set terrain. And then I got, I think from prize support again, I won the Roxon Smash terrain. And for me, that's plenty. I've got like 2 tables worth of terrain with everything that I got. So I don't really need any more.
I also stopped buying the terrain. Same as you. I have a couple big buildings that I have from people. And then I bought a lot of the early construction terrain set. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's got like the 2. I bought a bunch of those from my local game store and they stopped doing MCP. So I just have 4 painted sets of that.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't need to borrow. Like I don't own a Quinjet.
You have the largest Memphis construction site ever.
I could have the largest one ever. I have 5 garbage trucks, as you know.
I have to tell you, I don't think you're missing anything not owning the Quinjet. I think the model looks nice, but in terms of playability, it's D tier.
It
real
looks
annoying.
like rubbish to play on. Like,
yeah.
It was horrible to play on in TTS, and I'm like, this is only going to get worse in person. Can I stand under the wing? What happens? Where do I measure distance to this thing?
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. I do like the Sentinel pack. The Sentinel pack is cool. I'm happy.
Yeah, I really like that. It's very thematic.
Yeah, I have Sentinels, and sometimes I try to put them down. My Sentinels blow up, and my opponent says no.
Yeah.
So Soren also asked, and this was ironic given the last episode, is Pat, what's your favorite Pokemon? I have
What's my favorite Pokemon?
Can you see that? I have Pokemon tattooed on me.
Yeah, right there on your elbow.
Yeah.
I can't actually see which Pokemon it is, though, because of the... Okay, I think it's just that I don't know that many Pokemon. It looks like an upside-down octopus.
Well, it is upside down because of the way I have to hold my arm. I can't do it the other way. Okay.
Can you not just rotate your entire body for my convenience?
What do you want me to
like stand and do a handstand?
Does that work?
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely now it's an octopus or squid.
Okay. So what are the octopus and squid Pokemon?
I don't know, but knowing Pokemon, I'm gonna guess it's called something like Squidgy.
Close. It's Tentacool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good one. I actually do. Now you've said the name, I recognize it. It's a good name.
Yeah.
What's so cool?
I have absolutely no idea why I got that one tattooed on me.
What?
Like it's
you got a tattoo and you don't know why you got it.
It's not how many. You don't have any tattoos. Right,
I have
Pat?
0 tattoos. Okay, yeah. I intend to keep it that way.
It's just there's just like I wanted to get tattooed. My buddy drew up a really cool Tentacool and Tentacruel, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like that on me.
Okay.
There's a point where like it doesn't like I just wanted to get tattooed. My buddy drew the art, and this is kind of what I got done. And I know that sounds weird, and maybe Johan can defend me here. Like I don't know how else to describe that if you don't have tattoos. It's kind of just a weird thing to explain.
Okay, so it has the Tentacool itself has no special significance to you.
Yeah, I mean a bunch of like that's a pirate shark.
You do have a pirate shark on your shoulder, yeah, confirmed. Yeah, it's got an eye patch and a toothy grin.
A lot of the tattoos on me don't have like the picture doesn't have a ton of meaning. There might be a reason as to why I got tattooed, but like the picture itself is the piece of art is sometimes just like.
I really like your Totoro tattoo. I think that's fantastic.
Oh, I have 2.
Oh, so I'm thinking of the little like the silhouette one that you have, like the little landscape silhouette.
That one.
Yeah, on your forearm.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I like that too. Are you going to get a tattoo, Pat?
No, I don't think so.
What would you get?
I don't know.
Like I don't like what like it's not your style. That's fine. But like if you like, is there a tattoo or tattoo style that you think is appealing? Like, do you like color or black and gray?
I think black and gray. I think color is too colorful. Although I am pale enough that it will work pretty well. And yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason I don't have a tattoo is there's none that particularly appeal to me. I don't know. They're just not my thing. I'm not going to rain on your parade, GT. Your tattoos are cool, but not for me.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. I'm to the stage now where I don't really care what other people say about my tattoos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
But you care what I have to say, right?
Of course, I care what you have to say, but the masses, the unwashed masses, I don't care about that. I sent you a picture of my other Totoro tattoo. I can't show you that one's on my leg. I can't hoist my leg around there. And this is crazy. I know this is weird. That is actually white ink tattooed on me there.
Oh wow, in the belly, the little furry belly of the Totoro. And its eyes.
Yeah, and the leaf and that stuff. That's white ink. So
Nice. So going back to the question, is Tentacool your favorite Pokemon?
no,
Didn't even get your favorite.
it
What's your
might be like
favorite?
top. It might be like top 20.
Would you get all top 20 tattooed on you?
If I had them in a cool way, yeah. Like I've considered. I like pixel art a lot. I don't have any pixel art on me. I would do that where it's like the actual sprite from the game, so it's like blocky, like from the
Yeah.
old games. I think that's really cool, and I don't have that on me. I wanted to get the Final Fantasy Ghost Train, that Cyan and Sabin ride. I don't know if you played Final Fantasy. I was gonna get that tattoo down my forearm, but I got this one instead. Do you know what that says? Have you seen that tattoo?
It says platypus.
Yeah, exactly. It says platypus. Which just
What's the story behind that?
Okay, hold on. So, listeners, I will post the video of this podcast. Pat and I actually have videos of us talking. I'll post the video of this. You can see. So, I have this one, right? The
Yep.
Korean writing, and
Mhm.
it bugs me so much that people always ask me what it says. I'm like, if I wanted to know what it says, it'd be in English. So, I was like, I'm going to get something that's hard to read
Yeah.
tattooed on me that means absolutely nothing. And you
Mhm.
can see when people are like squinting at it and trying to figure out, like, there's no way that says platypus. Right? And then eventually they like muster up the courage and be like, does that say platypus? I'm like, fuck yeah, it does. And it's just like, oh, okay. And just kind of walk away. So my youngest daughter, Olivia, when I first got it, she couldn't read it. She looks at it and she spent like 5 seconds looking at it. She's like, it says pixie puss. And then she just moves on. Like that's a totally normal thing to get pixie puss tattooed on you, which I guess makes as much sense as platypus in the grand scheme of things. But
There's probably about as many people with either on their forearms.
Yeah, I don't know. Just, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I have to say, I've really enjoyed this question. Thank you, Soren, for the question. My favorite Pokemon is Snorlax because he is big and fat and sleepy.
I do like Snorlax. Snorlax is definitely like a top 5 Pokemon for me.
Yeah.
It'd be hard for me to pick. It's like Snorlax. I like Psyduck a whole lot. I like Charmander because everyone simps for Charmander. I really like Larvitar.
Okay, I don't
He's
know what
just a
that
little
one is.
T-Rex. He's just like a little T-Rex.
Oh, that little cute lava T-Rex.
Yeah. Maybe it's just I like Oddish a lot too, actually.
That's the radish, like the little radish
Yeah.
vegetable
Oh, I
one.
like Gyarados a lot.
That's the like big dragon one.
Yeah, it comes out of Magikarp.
Okay. Yeah, your little fish turns into a big sea serpent.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Probably one of those. I'm not sure.
All good choices. All excellent Pokemons.
Okay. Yeah. So AJ had a question here, Pat, and he asks, "What do you think your favorite Marvel comic run / storyline was?"
So there's a few that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Ultimates when it first came out back in like the early 2000s. It was very fresh and very cool. It was sensational at the time that Nick Fury was drawn like Samuel L. Jackson. This was long before the MCU, right, where they cast Samuel L. Jackson in that role. And the story of recruiting Captain America was really cool. Assembling the Ultimates was really nice. It was kind of fresh and a bit subversive. I only followed it for a while. My understanding is it kind of went down dark places at times and maybe wasn't always the best. But Ultimates, the early days of Ultimates was my favorite.
I think I have 3 that I want to mention, and they're all kind of like at different stages of my life. Frank Miller's Daredevil, which came out back in the 80s. I love that. That was like that was one of my favorite comics growing up. I really liked it for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I just really enjoyed it. The Neil Gaiman, I don't know how to say his name, Eternals. Have you read those?
I love that. That's actually honorable mention. That I might have put that as my number 1. I've got that, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I absolutely love those. And then one that doesn't get a ton of love that I really liked is actually the Earth X trilogy. Just the more I kind of got into Marvel, I really like them. They're kind of like weird, wacky, kind of some dystopian stuff. Not dystopian, but what's the word? Yeah, maybe dystopian is the right word. But I really enjoyed that one too. So
I don't know anything about Earth X. Is it an X-Men thing?
No. It's more like it's almost like What Ifs.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Like alternate universe stuff.
uh, yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's really really good.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, I think it's really good. A little weird, a little wacky. The first book I think is the best. But I think they're worth checking out for sure.
TT, we've discussed this before, but we're both big fans, as we just mentioned, of the Eternals comic. What's your rating for the Eternals movie
Am I rating it
out
in
of 10?
term? Am I rating it in terms of overall movies, or am I rating it in terms of like the MCU? Does that
You
make
can
sense?
give me both.
Oof. I mean, it's definitely the one of the worst. It's definitely it has to be bottom five of MCU movies, right? I'm
Right.
trying to run through them in my head. So, like, I think my favorite superhero movie is probably like an 8 on my normal movie scale
Hmm.
to put things in perspective. So in like my normal movie scale, I don't know, it'd be like a 2 or a 3. Like, I don't think it was a very good movie. Like, I think if you remove the Marvel branding and the love that I have for the characters via that comic series, it would even plummet even further, right? It's getting propped up by the IP. So
Yeah. Okay, I just
I
wanted to
don't
check.
know.
We're basically on the same page. We both really like the comic, and the movie let us down.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of like what are worse MCU movies. I mean, you have like the Thor 2, which was absolutely horrible, right?
Thor 2, Ant-Man 2. It's a recent terrible movie.
Oh yeah, Quantumania wasn't good either.
Yeah, I think that's the one, isn't it? Ant-Man 2. No, Ant-Man and Wasp's Ant-Man
No,
2. Quantum Mania is the bad one. Yeah.
yeah, Edward Norton's Hulk is really bad.
Hmm.
Iron Man 2 is really bad.
I didn't love Iron Man 3 either, for that matter.
Yeah, that's fair too. Not wrong there. Did you see the Marvels yet?
No, I wanted to see it in the cinema, and I foolishly, because it's been not got the best reception, I turned up at the cinema without having booked, and they were sold out. I couldn't go, so now I'm waiting for it on Disney Plus.
I enjoyed the movie more. I thought the movie was better than the reviews it got. And that's I'll leave it at that. Um, yeah, wasn't big in the Eternal movies, and I love Selma Hayek. Selma Hayek was like my like teenage crush growing up was Selma Hayek.
Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn. What a film.
Yeah, yeah, Desperado.
Hmm.
Yeah. Who's your female crush growing up, or male? I don't judge.
It wasn't Selma Hayek, although she's pretty great. Um, I feel stupid because I can't remember her name. It wasn't that much of a crush, obviously. I'll come
Hmm.
back to you. I'm going to Google search this.
Okay, okay,
Go on
okay.
with the next question. I'll come back to it.
Next up was Almageddon, and he asked, "Could you please do a tier list of sushi ingredients or types?" And then he has an MCP question too, and we'll get to that in a minute. Are you ready to talk about sushi, Pat, or are you like busy googling?
I'm giving up on the Google. We'll come back to that. Yes, I love sushi. What are we talking about?
So, so I think he asked us just like, could you do a tier list of sushi ingredients and types? Um, so he says he wasn't going to talk about fast food, but I do think fast food is fundamentally very different for you and for us, right?
Yeah, I don't really think of sushi as fast food, even though it
Oh
is
no.
fast.
I
Well, it's not
two
even that
totally
fast to
separate
make
questions.
it.
Two
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
separate questions. Uh, so first, what is your favorite type of sushi? I guess like, are you a nigiri, a sashimi, maki?
I like a variety. I would rather have a bit of everything. I would usually have like one of those mixed selections where you have some nigiri, some sashimi, and then I'd
Okay,
also get some rolls on the side.
okay. I agree with that. I kind of like to be all over the place. Are you actually? This is an important question because my buddy just recently invited me. He's like, "Hey, we're going out to all you can eat sushi. Do you want to come?" And I said, "No."
Hmm.
That to me is just like the risk reward just doesn't line up. If you're like $20 or $50 all you can eat sushi, just seems too risky to me.
So I keep mentioning Aberville. In Aberville on the Saturday night, we went to an all you can eat Asian food restaurant, and it was enormous. And it had a sushi section. And the
Did you eat
one
the
section
sushi?
that I did not visit was the sushi section.
Wise man, Pat. I also
Hmm.
would not have visited that sushi session. So, all right. So you kind of like to be all over. Do you have a favorite fish? Do you have a favorite roll?
I'm a big fan of tuna. It's a bit boring, but I like it. I
What
think
kind of
tuna
tuna?
and salmon are classics for a reason. right? And aside from that, mackerel I really like.
What kind of tuna?
Oh, fatty tuna is the best.
Okay,
Like the fattier, the better.
that's fair.
And the same with the salmon, actually. And then for rolls, I quite like any roll that has prawn tempura inside, and then whatever else you do on top. Big fan of that.
So you're okay with fried sushi ingredients inside the roll, right? You're fine with that.
Yeah, I don't love a lot. I don't like rolls that are overdone. So like when you're adding multiple kinds of sauces, when you're adding like chopped onions, you know, sometimes they do like fried onions. When you've got like five different things inside the roll, that's too much. Right? I want it kind of simple. I want like one or two fillings, maybe a sauce. But once you go beyond three ingredients that the rice is surrounding, I think it goes too far.
Okay. So I think in America, our sushi is probably a little bit different because, of course, we have like American things. Oh, I'm sorry. My favorite ingredient is tempura soft shell crab. I love crab to death. I
Oh,
don't know why. I've always just loved crab. So I'm gonna name you some like American rolls from the sushi place we normally go to. One of these is my wife's favorite, and I just want to get your thoughts for them. And do you have things like that over where you are?
okay.
So one of her favorite rolls is spicy tuna, spicy salmon, jalapeno, topped with seared pepper tuna, avocado, chili sauce, and tabico.
All on the same thing?
Yeah, that's one roll.
Well, I just explained my rule. That definitely fails. No way.
Really, that fails.
That's
That's
gross. Like, how many sauces is that?
like four.
No way. I hate. Okay, it's pet peeve. I don't like mixing sauces. I don't like if I've got like ketchup and mayonnaise. I mix them together. No, no thanks. Right, I'll keep them separate. I don't want all of that stuff sprinkled on my sushi.
All right, I'm going to run through the rest of these rolls. I don't think it's going to go very well for you. I'm not going to go all of them. I'm just going to give you three more here.
Okay.
What about a volcano roll with deep fried spicy tuna, avocado, cream cheese, topped with spicy crab meat, tabico, and scallions?
Cream cheese on a sushi? No, absolutely
Oh, is
not.
that an American thing?
Yeah, pretty
That
sure. I've
must be
never
an
heard.
American thing.
That's definitely an
Okay.
American thing.
Okay.
It's not a
So
sushi
you,
thing.
okay. So avocado, cream cheese, and cucumber is a staple here in the States.
As a sushi,
Yeah.
I like
You rolled it
avocado
up.
and cucumber. That's only three ingredients. I'd give it a go. I'm not
Oh, okay.
excited about
Okay.
the
So you're
prospects,
not
but that's
appalled
okay.
by cream cheese. You're just appalled by cream cheese when it comes with 20 other accoutrements.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the cream cheese and appalled by the combination of ingredients.
Okay. Okay. What about a cowboy roll, which is big out here in good old Colorado, which of course is shrimp tempura, teriyaki filet mignon beef, cucumber and avocado in soy wrapped, topped with eel sauce and crunchy salmon.
So like a surf and turf, but then with like six other things. Every
In
single
one
thing you
roll.
said, everything you said in that roll sounds great to me. I'm not sure that I'd like them all together, but I'd definitely try it, and I'd
How much do
probably
you think
enjoy
that
it.
roll costs?
Oh, probably way too much.
It's $32.
This is quite a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
rolls are expensive, but that's an expensive roll.
All right, the last one. This is my wife's absolute favorite. It's shrimp tempura, spicy crab, and soy paper, topped with salmon, tuna, and avocado, served with eel sauce and spicy mayonnaise.
Yeah, okay. It's too much, too many sauces, but all right,
Okay. Okay.
fine. It's okay.
Do you have those kind of rolls in the UK?
Yeah, we do, we do.
You
There's usually a little section of the menu that has them, and I always avoid them.
okay. All right. I was just curious.
By the way, TT,
Hmm.
Google search complete. Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel.
If you want an
The name
example
stuff.
movie, Blade Trinity, which also starred, of course, Wesley Snipes and
Oh,
Ryan
Justin
Reynolds.
Timberlake's wife.
Is it just is she Justin Timberlake's wife? I just don't know what happened to her the last 20 years.
Justin Timberlake, yeah, or Justin Timberlake's her husband, however you want to word it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, she was
Congratulations
in
to them.
she's been in a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, she did this show about being Christian that I was raised very religious. I can't remember, but she was in some show growing up that I watched a lot. God, do you know what I'm talking about?
Do I know the show you watched as a kid that was very
It's
religious that
very
Jessica Biel was in?
religious.
Was it
Yeah,
Blade?
Seventh Heaven.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, wow.
Was it good?
No, it was not. Well, my parents would only let me watch like certain TV shows growing up, but that was one of them because it was about like the trials and tribulations of like a Christian pastor's family, and I was allowed to kind of watch it. Yeah,
Sounds miserable.
yeah, it's the reason I moved out when I was 16. So,
On to the next question.
So the other question that Arma had is, what do you guys think of Wakanda right now? Do you think they suit splashing a big, powerful model in the current meta? Do you have any tips for making the most of your practice games? Oh, we asked a bunch of questions. Let's talk about Wakanda real quick. What do you have 5 minutes on Wakanda here, Pat?
I do. I think Wakanda's great. I think they're really good in the current metagame. They're on my shortlist of things I want to play, and they would have made it into my shortlist from a couple of episodes ago, except they weren't in my top 6. I think they're probably number 7. When I paint M'Baku, I'm definitely going to be playing them for a bit.
You'd splash someone big into them?
I think you can. I think they might be the best home for Thanos now because they're a pretty good narrow team with Thanos. I think you can do really interesting things on Mayor Fisk with M'Baku and Thanos and Black Panther or Killmonger. And 2 of your 3 models are immune to stun. You can do a narrow attrition fight. You can control the center really well with that team. And I think Thanos works really well with Spirit of Wakanda. I think he works really well with both leaderships, depending on who you want your leaders to be. And I think the Spirit of Wakanda plays in general are pretty spicy and interesting, even if you don't play with the big boy.
Do you think you'd play a Cosmic with them at all?
I guess you could. I don't think they're especially synergistic with Cosmic, but they're not bad, right? You could also power him up with Spirit if you wanted, or you could like heal him or remove conditions, which are all good for all the big boys with that card. The leaderships are fine for him. In particular, I think M'Baku's is probably better for him. Yeah, you totally could. I mean, people have played Hulk in Wakanda forever, and he's always been good there, especially if you're protecting him with Shuri. With Okoye. Yeah, I think there's definitely room. All of the Wakandans are like 4-threat models, right? 4-3-2. We know new Black Panther's coming out as a 5, but whatever. There's definitely room for an unaffiliated expensive model in your roster if you play Wakanda.
Yeah, I think Wakanda's well positioned too. I don't think they're top tier, but I don't know. I think you could win plenty of events with them if you wanted to play them. I don't think you're handicapping yourself if you want to play Wakanda at all.
Yeah, I really enjoy the tempo that they have with Spirit of Wakanda and like early game acceleration, and with their incredible Wakanda Forever turn. And like you can have some really powerful rounds or really powerful turns even just with Wakanda. I think they're good. I think they're underrated right now.
Yeah, and they're only going to see more play as these new models come out, right?
Yes. Plus, of course, Storm got buffed in the errata, and she is a good affiliated Wakanda.
Yeah, so they're getting what? M'Baku, Black Panther.
They've got M'Baku.
Storm. Oh, and M'Baku out?
Yeah, he came out ages ago with Claw.
That's right. I own M'Baku. Who's the other one coming out that we're waiting for?
It's just Black Panther and Killmonger Jewels.
That's it. That's what's in the box.
Which we think is coming out end of January or sometime in February, based on Asmodee's marketing material.
That's the one with the crazy waterfall display, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's exciting. We've seen both those models previewed in Mini Stravaganza. They both got new leaderships. So Wakanda will be in affiliation with like 7 models and 4 leaderships, which is pretty interesting.
So yeah, I think we're both high in Wakanda, right?
Yeah, I think they're good. I think they are a dark horse, well worth playing and experimenting with, lots to explore, and you'll catch a lot of people by surprise when you play them.
So, as you know, we're not really allowed to speculate about the game, but Kyle asked a question that I think we can answer. So I'm going to ask you the question, Pat, and if you don't think we can answer it, let me know. But okay. Kyle says, if we were able to design our own timeline layouts, right? So if we were going to take the teams that were able to be played in the timeline.
Oh, sure.
Where would you start this journey? Would you pick like a comic? Would you pick a movie? Would you pick a timeline snapshot? Literally, like I want to do 1982 to 1990 or something. Where would you go with that, Pat?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm sure we can answer that. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think one of the challenges is the timelines need to incorporate quite a lot of affiliations, right?
They do.
At least enough to be interesting. I think the current timeline has about a dozen or so. It's got like half of the total affiliations in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And most bits of media, comics or films, don't tend to be that broad, right? So you can't point at like, oh, Age of Ultron. Well, it's got the Avengers and it's got Ultron, right? It's not really enough for a timeline. And I'm sure there are some big events. I don't really follow the big Marvel events, but they seem to me, like the big Marvel comic book events, they seem to me to be the kind of things you might want to look at for a timeline. You know, like we recently had Null and like the symbiote, the Venom's homeworld symbiote invasion of like the Marvel universe, right? And that was going on in a bunch of different comics simultaneously. And like War of the Realms, which introduced Malekith, went on in a bunch of comics. And I would guess that one of those would be a good timeline event.
Okay. My brain went a little different. I thought you could do Marvel Zombies.
Ooh, how would you do that?
I think if you took some liberties, it's wide enough that you could have enough affiliations kind of tossed in there. I would have like half of them be alternate stat sheets because they're zombies.
Okay, so you go like a step further and be like, here's the rules for being a zombie.
I'm like, yeah, here's timeline. These models are like zombies. These are not zombies, and maybe that changes. I don't know. Maybe in round 1 and 2, Captain America's normal, and then rounds 3 and 4, he's got to be a zombie because they've already set up. You got this weird thing where you play different things. So yeah,
Yeah,
I would go zombies. I just think it's cool. I think you'd sell a whole bunch of models. I think you'd see some really cool painted conversions, and I thought the comics were pretty cool.
I think that's a really cool idea. I love that. That's way cooler than my idea. Although
I do
similar idea actually that you're doing a big comic event that spans a lot of characters.
I do agree with you. It's hard to like create one because to your
Yeah.
point, like most of them are like we have our main focus team and we have the bad guys from that, and we have maybe one team coming in to help us, right? It's
Yeah.
normally like a pretty small scope that you end up looking at.
Yes. I wonder. So this timeline that we've got right now is mutant focused, right? It has all the mutant stuff, and then it's also got Earth based stuff.
Mhm.
I wonder, are there enough teams that you could do like a cosmic timeline? You've got Black Order, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy. Inhumans lived on the moon at one point. The
You
well
could do
starts to run
a
pretty dry pretty
as
fast.
Guardians, right?
Oh, as Guardians. Basically, I suppose it's basically all the stuff you're not playing in this timeline, maybe. So maybe you could just, next timeline is just all the other affiliations that didn't get played.
So who would you do? Sorry, you were saying
Cosmic.
Inhumans.
Inhumans,
Yep. Black Order,
Guardians.
Guardians, as Guardians.
Yeah. Could you do enough Avengers to have a cosmic team? You got Captain Marvel.
I think you could with some liberties. I think that would work.
Yeah.
Would you do?
Do you
I don't
do
know, so it's
Brotherhood
getting-
because of Asteroid M?
Yeah, I mean, you could do Brotherhood at that point, right? You could do Convo.
Really?
I mean,
The
if you're just
Wizards
gonna
from
do- if you're
Space?
just gonna do- Nah, but they dimensional travel all the time. If you're just gonna do weird stuff,
Yep. Weird stuff. That could be the timeline theme.
yeah,
Still
I
the
like
weird
that,
characters.
weird stuff, just stuff you don't think of normally, just
Would
peculiar
you
weird things.
would you ever entertain a timeline event that was purely a mechanically driven one that you wanted to do some
Oh,
weird gimmick?
Dormammu.
Yeah, Dormammu, sure, he's interdimensional.
Like I just
so-
said with zombies, I just pitch zombies.
Yeah, I think zombies is great, but what I mean is from a gameplay first point of view. This is a terrible example, but let's say your timeline was only 3-threat characters, right? And you were just like, here's the timeline, it's all the models that are 3-threat. Nothing else is in the timeline. Would you ever consider something like that that's like purely mechanics driven?
I don't think so. I mean, Timeline already had such a lukewarm reception. I don't think you want to make that any more gimmicky than possible.
Yep.
I think you want that to kind of satisfy the comic nerds out there who are going to get real excited about that particular timeline.
Yes.
Right? I just think
I
you
think
lose that if you kind of detach it from there.
I think that's fair. By the way, I think the current timeline is not especially comics driven, right? It's not. Is
I
it a
don't think it
particular
is
comics event?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. I agree. I think doing a comics driven would be cool.
Yeah.
Interesting to think about.
Yeah. So Kyle also writes in with another thing that I think we're going to cover in the future, and that's kind of like how you choose models per threat matchup. And I think we can kind of tack that on at the end of it, Dojo. So for the sake of time, Pat and I have been recording for 2 hours already. We are going to jump over to life advice here.
Okay. Give it to
So
me,
Pat,
Tito.
I'm not going to lie, man. These are going to be rapid fire life advice questions. I just want you to give me 30 to 60 seconds. I'll chime in at the end, but basically, I'm going to propose a life advice question, and we're going to go quick. Not going to
Okay.
spend too much time, and we're going to go through a bunch of these, okay?
Hmm.
Because it's been a little while since we've done these. All right.
Okay, I'm
All right.
ready.
Should I move to the U.S. or the U.K.?
Is there any context?
They're moving.
Sure, UK.
Why? You got to give me a why. Quick.
Well, I live in the UK and I think it's great. US is big and scary. Who'd
That
want
is
to live
true.
there?
We are like, do you like guns?
No,
If you
I
like,
don't like
if
guns.
you like firearms, I'm not. It's a rhetorical question. It's a rhetorical question. I know you like
Okay.
firearms, but if you like guns, you should move to the U.S. We
See, I
have more
wasn't
of
going to
those.
go there as the non-US citizen. I wasn't going to mention that, but
What are the stereotypes of the U.S.? Isn't it just like guns and like big trucks?
I don't know, like meth, poverty, racism, like
We have
rampant
all of those things.
capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Obesity.
yeah. Oh, that's the big stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We have all those things. Yeah. All right. What is the best way to move on from your ex?
Um, well, presumably you find someone new. I
What?
don't
That's the
know.
best
Like
way. It's
this is just. I don't know. This is like. Help me out with this one, TT. What
I
do you
think you need to
think?
be happy with yourself.
Really? Is that
That's
the
what
way
I'd
you're
say.
going? You're going for like that kind of
I think so. I think it's really
self-help
important to
angle?
understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're just saying like find someone else, just
I
quick,
don't know. Or you can
go to
do
a
all of the
bar.
stereotype ones. You can be like, um, get blitzed, one night stand, all that stuff. But yeah, I think you're probably right. I think be happy with yourself is a much more sensible answer. How would you do that? How would you resolve that situation?
Well, I mean, some people get happier with themselves when they get blitzed, right? I mean, so maybe our answers overlap, maybe they intersect. I think some of it's like finding out who you are, what makes you happy. You know what I mean? I think one of the other things that people miss is like that might have been who you used to be, but as time changes, people change, right? And it's important that your assessment of yourself stays up to date.
Yeah, don't attach too much of your self-worth to your partner. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. How can I get over my fear of failure? I feel like it's crippling and preventing me from trying and doing new things.
I don't think I can handle this quickfire life advice. These questions are very big, and I'm just
What?
supposed to like have a good answer off the top of my head.
Nope.
How to get over a fear of failure?
You just got to fail. It just doesn't matter. Just fail.
Yeah, you do. And maybe if I guess you need to be able to accept the consequences of the failure, right? And that might mean you need to create a safe situation where you can fail without feeling like it's going to cost you anything, right? Like
I think
embarrassment or ridicule or be getting sacked or whatever it might be. But that can help to overcome the fear, right?
right. Only a couple more, Pat. I know this pains you. How do I lose and keep off 10 kilograms?
Well, I'll tell you how it worked for me
Okay,
because I
go.
lost and kept off 10 kilograms. And that was with my patented smoothie diet, which is probably not very sensible. And I didn't follow any advice, but I just decided, okay, screw this. The only food that I'm going to have in my house is fruit and vegetables. And then I'm just going to eat salads or I'm going to make smoothies. And that's all I'm going to eat or drink when I'm at home. And so 2 out of 3 meals a day were at home. And I just only had vegetables. And my calorie count was low. And I dropped the weight. And then as I started to ease off it, I would just have the occasional smoothie, like a breakfast smoothie or the occasional lunchtime smoothie. And I've kept it off ever since. It's been
Awesome.
like 4 years now.
I think it's important just to move, get some kind of exercise every day. Doesn't matter what, you just take a walk, just do something. I think it's really easy to get sedentary in these kind of lifestyles now.
Yeah, that's important. And oh my gosh, yeah, since working remote, my step count has been terrible. Walking to work was great. I was able to get that exercise in my daily routine was a big deal. I think if you can force yourself to walk or cycle as part of your regular travel routine, it really helps.
Yeah, but again, just do something. Get out of the chair and just walk. So, I'm in a relationship. I know it's not going to work, but there's one aspect about it that I really like. What do you think I should do here?
Is it the podcasting?
No, this is the life advice, Pat. This is the life
Okay.
advice.
So it's not you. Okay.
Yeah. I know you don't like these heavy ones. I'll go first. Oh, did you have an answer? Do you want to go?
No, I absolutely don't have an answer.
I think you just need to be honest with your partner. And like, as long as you are both aligned that you're only doing this because you enjoy A or B together, I think that's fine. Like if Pat and I were together and we're a couple, and let's pretend we only were together for the sex, I'd be like, Pat, I really enjoy sleeping with you. I don't really enjoy anything else. if you're comfortable keep doing this, it's fine. I don't think you should lead the other person on. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, but of course the downside there is if I'm very upset about that and I call the whole thing off, then you miss out on the great sex. And are you not willing to take that risk?
We just talked about it. You can't be afraid to fail, right?
Okay, so you would just basically you don't think it's a situation that's worth perpetuating. You wouldn't just stick it out to do the thing you love doing.
I feel that's unfair if the other person has different expectations.
Okay.
There have been plenty of people that I dated where I'm like, you and I have fun together, but I cannot possibly imagine us ever living together or going somewhere. And they very clearly wanted like a long-term relationship. And I told them straight up, I'm like, it's fine. If you want to go on a date once in a while and do stuff, that's great. I don't see us ever settling down.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like having those shared expectations for what you're going to get out of the relationship, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. How can I make new friends in my 30s?
Take up Marvel Crisis Protocol.
You think that helps you make friends?
It helped me.
Yeah, I think getting outside the house helps you, right?
Yeah, just any kind of social activity.
Are they actually friends or are they like acquaintances?
Well, I mean,
like, would you keep in touch with them
if you friend?
Stop playing Marvel? Oh, that's a great question, Pat. What is a friend, Pat?
Oh no, why did I say this? Well, right, a friend has shared interests, right? There's someone you spend time with socially. And usually you have some sort of shared interest or shared experience. And Marvel can be that thing, right? And what I would say is Marvel is a good example because you meet a bunch of people and then some of them you will, over time, get closer to, right? You'll talk to them more, you'll do other things with them. Other people you won't. That's fine. Marvel is just the gateway to give you that potential to make friends. But you're right, it doesn't have to be Marvel. It could be anything.
Yeah, and I think what you said, like, maybe you have 10 or 12 Marvel friends. And if like one of them sticks and becomes a friend that you end up doing additional things with, I think that's great. I think that's that's fantastic. And if not, like you enjoy again, right? Going back to the clear expectations for a relationship, you guys like playing Marvel together. You played Marvel together for a couple of years. That's great. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And the same applies for any other social activity, right? Like good way to make friends is to put yourself in situations where it's possible to make friends, which means going out and being with other people.
Yeah, I had plenty of War Machine friends, and a couple of them I thought we would stay friends with post War Machine, and we just didn't have that commonality anymore. And it's not that I don't like the person, right? But like the foundation of our relationship was talking about War Machine, and then that didn't exist.
Yeah. It's tricky, right? I get the impression, especially for guys, so much of our friendship is about doing things with other people, right? It's not so much just about being with people, but you have some sort of activity.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. All right, Pat, you made it through the rapid fire life advice. You okay?
I'm barely holding up.
All right. Well, we do want to thank each and every one of you for a great year. Like I said, this is what episode is it, Pat? 200 and what? 222?
Sounds about right. Sure, that's a nice number, 222. It's actually 215.
Okay, I'm sorry. I gave us 7 episodes there. That's an incredible amount of episodes. So we do want to sincerely thank each and every one of you for listening and bearing with us. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, you can do that at Patreon, at patreon.com/across the Bifrost. We do want to thank our patrons for keeping the lights on, for making this all happen. And again, thanks for listening, regardless of your patron status. And until next time, everyone, cheers and happy gaming.
TT, yes, inspired Pat. By your tattoo, I've got a joke.
Oh, okay. I like jokes.
How do you get Pikachu on a bus?
How do you get Pikachu on a bus?
Pokemon.